Uganda, first and foremost, is a green country, a very peaceful country, a very productive country. That's why it's called the Pearl of Africa. With almost everything that mankind could want or desire, ranging from the atmosphere, ranging from the environment, ranging from the climate, topography, ranging from the resources that it has, both in the ground and outside the ground. From 1962, since its inception of the independence, when the British gave over power to the local people, the Ugandans. From that time forth up to now, we've had quite a number of changes in leadership. I will not say both good and bad, but for the record, I will specifically talk about the one which is outstanding now, and the one which has taken quite a stride for up to 36 years since its capture of power in 1986. But before I go there, I would say that Uganda is an open-minded country with open-minded people, a country which is fertile for both agriculture, business, tourism, and also education at large. Uganda is being spoken over as a country which has very welcoming people, as compared, of course, to other countries and our neighbors. Uganda takes number one as a country which harbors and also welcomes people of all religious affiliations, political affiliations, refugees from different countries. Uganda was ranked as one of the countries in Africa which helps and welcomes refugees from different countries around it. So we could say that Uganda is a country which is worth living to a standard which someone would love to live. There is no country which is stagnant. Even if it has good or bad leadership, still there will be things which have developed in that country and other sectors which have not developed or stagnated in that very country. Uganda has registered some bits of development in some sectors, such as the education sector. The level at which the education standards and the academic standards in Uganda 10 years or 20 years ago were, and now I think the ranks can tell you that Uganda is one of the countries in East Africa which has one of the best academic structures. We've gone a bit slow as far as the economy is concerned of Uganda, because any growing economy is an economy where the people in that country are happy, they're economically well, they can afford at least a befitting standard of living. I don't see this one happening in Uganda right now because Uganda has now been taken over by classes where people cannot afford even to have a decent meal on their tables. So the disparity between the rich and the poor in Uganda is very huge. Me, as I see what's going on, I think only in Uganda you have only about 10% or 15% of the people rich, and the 85% of the people are poor. Poor, to understanding, is a person who cannot afford or cannot get $1 a day or $2 a day, and Uganda is one of those countries where the majority of the people cannot get $2 a day. So ranking Uganda as one of the poorest nations in the world, and also giving the economy a very bad or a very black spot as far as the international ranking is concerned. If I talk about the economic sector, it means that even other sectors in the economy have fallen short. If there is no money and people are poor, it means that the agriculture sector is also going to have an international shortfall. Not to mention that the agriculture is one of the was the backbone of Africa, and in Uganda in particular, employing almost 95% of the citizens, engaging themselves and participating in agricultural activities day by day. Lack of funding, lack of technological infrastructure, lack of proper planning, and lack of support from the government to uplift the agriculture sector has made all Ugandans and most Ugandans poor. When this government came to power, it sold off all cooperative unions which used to buy off the agricultural products from the farmers at a very good price, and also giving the farmers security for what they are growing. Some farmers even got money before they could harvest their crops, which is not the case now. The government sold off all the cooperative unions, leaving Ugandans in disarray. Also, I have to mention the mining sectors and the other sectors of the economy have been taken over by Chinese and Europeans, and all the proceeds from the oil, for example, which is mined now in Uganda, is taken over by Europeans, and the national cake is being shared by a few people who beneficiaries of such projects. Very few Ugandans are working in these companies like Taro Oil, which is now mining the oil of Uganda, and Ugandans cannot see where even this money goes, the proceeds from this oil. And this cuts across even to the mining sector, where all the gold now is mined by Europeans. If not Europeans, the top people in the government are the ones who are owning the gold mines and other mining sectors.
This is a message to the government, expressing what's exactly on the people's mind.
I think we are still a very, very young political country. As I told you before, that Uganda has a president which is 36 years in power. Even if he's organizing elections and winning them, does not mean that the elections are free and fair. The president is the one who elects and chooses people in the electoral rolls and making the electoral laws and also the administration of elections in the country. Those people are being elected by the president in power. So it is something that is not understood, or it can be understood on the other part, when after the election the president is sworn in as the winner, even if he hasn't, because the people who swear them in, they are elected by him and they are working for him. Also, the violence that takes place during elections and the period during when people are canvassing for votes is also an issue. There is no peaceful transfer of power, and this has made the country to lag behind, both in the economy and also politically. Nobody wants to invest in a country where there is no peaceful transfer of power. Nobody. The issue of presidency is not an issue of development at all. In any case, it could be an issue of underdevelopment because of the laws and the policies that are passed by the governments and also those in favor of that president. There's a lot of nepotism and tribalism as far as sharing of the national cake is concerned. Statistics can show you, even books, it is well known everywhere that this government is being shared by people from one part of the country. The commander-in-chief, the permanent secretaries in ministries, all these people have taken over posts, the bigger posts in this government, and it means that power sharing and national cake sharing has gone to one side of the country, which is from the west, where the president hails from.
What you're doing to this nation, but are you teaching the future generation?
Corruption is at its peak. Uganda is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. I think in the top 10. By corruption, I mean that all the monies that would have been used for development is either stolen, misused, or misappropriated. Why? Because it is a family thing. All the leadership comes from one region. They know each other. They know their families. The country cannot take, or the government cannot take an upper hand to secure the monies or the investments or otherwise of this nation.
We are fighting for freedom.
Very many youth have come up to take up political positions, and the youth are the agents of change. So I believe if the youth take over power in Uganda, development will come in the next 10 years. If the situation remains as it is and we are still ruled by people who are old and tired, I think development will be something that we shall just dream of. But if somebody asks you if Ugandan people love the incumbent president or no, I will not say that many people love him. I will not say that. But people who eat from his hands, of course, they will continue supporting him. And because they are using state machinery and state money and they are the ones in power, all over the streets they can paint a picture that they have support, but on the ground, strictly, there is no support at all.
Whether you a teacher or policeman, could I be a tax driver or a student, could I be a lawyer, could I be a soldier, we are fighting for.
We are lucky in Uganda. We are having youth coming up to take up political positions, like Bobi Wine now, who has come and stood for president in the forthcoming election. We hope for the best. Really, we need change. Bobi Wine destabilizing the country is really negative propaganda because the person who has a pen and a paper being painted as a person who has destabilized the country from people who have guns and tanks and jet bombers. Really, it is hoodwinking the people to think that Bobi Wine is destabilizing the country, but it's not. It's not. These are tactics which have been played by freedom fighters everywhere they have been. They paint a picture that there is injustice, there is war, but in the actual sense, it is them who are doing those acts so that they could make the current government look bad. So it means that by Bobi Wine deciding to go for an electoral process, it means that he is eyeing for peace and not war. So he can never be an agent of war and destabilization of this country. I think he's doing his right duty as a Ugandan, because it is in his political and also in his civil rights as a citizen of this country to run for president or in political office. He has the academic credentials to do so. So I think he's fit to rule this nation as such. Every nation has to have peaceful transfer of power.